G'day all, Noob72 here. Hope you've had an awesome week. Welcome to episode 6 of yet another history of the world. Today we are going to look at the Cambrian period of Earth's ancient history. So let's get started. The Cambrian period, which occurred approximately 541 to 485 million years ago, is a pivotal time in Earth's history. It is often referred to as the Cambrian Explosion because it witnessed the remarkable burst of evolutionary innovation and diversification, during which the major animal phyla first appeared in a fossil record. The period set the stage for the subsequent evolution of complex multicellular life. Stages of the Cambrian period. Before the Cambrian period, during the Ediacaran period, approximately 635 to 541 million years ago, Earth was inhabited by simple, soft-bodied organisms, including the enigmatic Ediacaran biotia. These organisms lacked the complex body plans seen in the Cambrian fauna. Stage 1. The early Cambrian, 541 to 521 million years ago. The Cambrian began with the emergence of various marine life forms, including the iconic anomalacaridids, which were large predatory arthropods. The early Cambrian is marked by the emergence of small shelly fossils, which were thought to be the remains of early mollusks, brachiopods, and other small-shelled organisms. Trilobites, arthropods with segmented bodies and hard exoskeletons, became diverse and abundant during this time. Stage 2. The Middle Cambrian, 521 to 509 million years ago. In the Middle Cambrian, the Burgess Shale in Canada preserves an exceptionally well-preserved fossil fauna. This deposit includes many bizarre and previously unknown animals, contributing significantly to our understanding of early animal diversity. Arthropods continue to diversify with various forms such as trilobites, crustaceans, and arachnomorphs, early spider-like arthropods. Early echinoderms, ancestors of modern starfish and sea urchins, appeared. Stage 3. The Late Cambrian, 509 to 497 million years ago. Brachiopods, marine filter-feeding organisms with bivalve shells, reached their peak diversity during this period. Early mollusks, including snail-like gastropods and shelled cephalopods, began to diversify. Arthropods continued to evolve, with some groups developing more complex body plans. Stage 4. The Pharyngonian, 497 to 485 million years ago. The Pharyngonian is marked by a decline in trilobite diversity, eventually leading to the extinction of at the end of the Cambrian. Many marine organisms began to secrete hard shells or skeletons made of calcium carbonate, which contributed to the development of more advanced ecosystems. The first vertebrate-like animals, such as the jawless Hecatheus, made their appearance. Tectonic activity. During the Neoproterozoic era, which preceded the Cambrian, Earth's continents were assembled into the supercontinent of Pannotia. Pannotia began to break apart during the late Precambrian, leading to the opening of various ocean basins. The breakup of Pannotia resulted in the formation of the Iapetus Mount Ocean, which separated Laurentia, North America and parts of Europe, from other land masses, including Baltica and Avalonia. This ocean played a significant role in Cambrian tectonics. The southern continents would later form Gondwana, South America, Africa, Antarctica, India, and Australia. Began to drift away from the supercontinent Rodinia during the Neoproterozoic and continued to do so in the Cambrian. Laurentia, a core component of North America, was positioned near the equator during the Cambrian. It was bordered by the Iapetus Ocean to the east and other land masses to the west. Baltica, a precursor to parts of modern-day Europe, was located to the northwest of Laurentia. Avalonia, a microcontinent, was situated to the northeast of Laurentia. It eventually played a role in the formation of parts of modern-day Europe. The southern continents continued to drift away from one another and were positioned near the South Pole during the Cambrian, experiencing glaciation at times. During the early Cambrian, the tectonic orogeny occurred along the eastern margin of Laurentia. This mountain building event resulted in the subduction of the Iapetus Ocean beneath Laurentia and led to the formation of the Tectonic Mountains. The Avalonian orogeny, also known as the Caledonian orogeny, occurred later in the Cambrian. It involved the collision of Avalonia and Laurentia, leading to the formation of the Caledonian Mountains. Cambrian tectonic activity influenced global climate and sea level. For example, the closure of the Iapetus Ocean and the assembly of continents could have affected ocean circulation patterns and atmospheric CO2 levels, potentially contributing to climate variations. Sea level fluctuations were common during the Cambrian, resulting from tectonic movements, glacial events, and changes in ocean chemistry. These fluctuations influenced the distribution of shallow seas and marine habitats. Cambrian tectonics played a significant role in the diversification of life. The breakup of continents and the creation of new ocean basins provided opportunities for species to evolve and adapt to different environments. The changing geography also influenced the distribution of marine organisms and the development of ecosystems. The climate and environment of the Cambrian period. The Cambrian period is often described as a greenhouse period characterized by high levels of atmospheric CO2 or carbon dioxide and warm global temperatures. During the early and middle Cambrian, it is believed there were no polar ice caps and Earth was generally ice-free. This resulted in relatively uniform temperatures across the planet, with warm oceans even at higher latitudes. The continents were distributed differently during the Cambrian than they are today. Most land masses were part of the supercontinent Gondwana in the southern hemisphere, while Laurentia, Northern America and parts of Europe, was located near the equator. Other smaller continents and microcontinents like Baltica and Avalonia existed as well. The Cambrian is often associated with extensive shallow seas and epicontinental seas. These seas covered significant portions of continents, especially in North America, Europe, and Siberia. The shallow seas of the Cambrian teemed with life, and it was a time of remarkable evolutionary innovation. The explosion of marine life during this period is known as the Cambrian Explosion, which saw the emergence of diverse and complex multicellular organisms, including trilobites, brachiopods, mollusks, and other marine invertebrates. Cambrian oceans had high concentrations of calcium and bicarbonate ions, which promoted the precipitation of calcium carbonate. This led to the development of reefs and the formation of hard shells and exoskeletons by many marine organisms. The preservation of the Burgess Shale fauna in Canada's Yoho National Park provides valuable insights into the ecology of Cambrian marine environments. These exceptionally preserved fossil deposits reveal the diversity of soft-bodied organisms that inhabited the seafloor. The Cambrian period experienced volcanic activity associated with the breakup of the supercontinent Pannonia, the formation of the Iapetus Ocean, and the opening of rifts between continents. These continents contributed to the changes in atmospheric composition. Orogenic events like the tectonic orogeny and the Avallonian orogeny resulted in the formation of mountain ranges along continental margins. Oxygen levels in the atmosphere were rising during the Cambrian, although they were still lower than modern levels. This increase in oxygen likely facilitated the evolution of larger and more active animals. The Cambrian sea levels fluctuated, driven by tectonic events, changes in ocean circulation, and glaciation episodes. These fluctuations influence the extent and distribution of shallow marine environments. The Cambrian Explosion. The Cambrian Explosion is generally considered to have occurred over a relatively short span of time, though exact duration estimates vary. It is often referred to as a geologically sudden event, but it may have taken place over tens of millions of years. The key period of diversification is typically associated with the early Cambrian, roughly 541 to 518 million years ago. Several factors likely contributed to the Cambrian explosion. Rising atmospheric oxygen levels during the time played a role in enabling more complex life forms, as oxygen is essential for cellular respiration. During the Cambrian explosion, prior to the Cambrian explosion, life on Earth consisted mainly of simple, single-celled organisms. The evolution of key innovations, such as the development of hard body parts and the genetic toolkit for building complex body plans, facilitated the emergence of multicellular and more diverse organisms. The availability of vacant ecological niches may have provided opportunities for the rapid diversification of species. The evolution of predator-prey interactions and the ecological competition could have driven speciation. Changes in continental configuration and ocean chemistry, driven by plate tectonics and volcanic activity, could have influenced environmental conditions and species distribution. As I've said this before, the remarkable preservation of fossils in deposits like the Burgess Shale in Canada have provided invaluable insights into the diversity of life during the Cambrian explosions. The Burgess Shale contains exquisitely preserved soft-bodied organisms, shedding light on the ecological relationships and body structures of Cambrian fauna. The Cambrian explosion was a pivotal event in the history of life on Earth. It laid the foundations for subsequent evolutionary developments and the emergence of more complex life forms. Many of the body plans and features that evolved during the period persisted and served as the ancestors of modern organisms. It led to the creation of more complex ecosystems and established the framework for the Phanerozoic Aeon, which includes most of Earth's history with complex multicellular life. And it's actually the Aeon we're living in at the moment. Flora and fauna of the Cambrian period. During the Cambrian period, the terrestrial environment was relatively barren compared to later geological periods. Complex land plants had not yet evolved, and Earth's land masses were primarily devoid of vegetation. Instead, the majority of life remained aquatic. Primitive algae, such as green and red algae, were among the dominant photosynthetic organisms in aquatic environments. These early algae were crucial in contributing oxygen to the atmosphere and served as the foundation of marine food chains. Cyanobacteria, known as blue-green algae, were widespread during the Cambrian. They played a significant role in the oxygenation of the atmosphere through photosynthesis. Some cyanobacteria formed stromatolites, layered structures built by microbial communities in shallow marine environments. Microbial mats, composed of various types of bacteria, cyanobacteria, and other microorganisms, covered shallow marine and freshwater areas. These mats were important for sediment stabilization and nutrient cycling. Fauna. The Cambrian explosion was marked by the rapid appearance of diverse and complex animal life forms. It was a pivotal time for the evolution of animals, and many of the major animal phyla first appeared during this period. Trilobites were one of the most iconic and diverse groups of the Cambrian organisms. These arthropods had segmented bodies and a hard skeleton, making them excellent candidates for fossilization. They occupied various ecological niches and are important index fossils for dating rock layers. Brachiopods are marine organisms that resemble clams but are not closely related. They have bivalve shells and a unique feeding apparatus called a lophophore. Brachiopods were abundant during the Cambrian and persisted through subsequent periods. Early mollusks, including gastropods or snail-like organisms and shelled cephalopods, began to diversify during the Cambrian. These animals had soft bodies protected by hard shells. Anomalocaridids were large predatory arthropods characterized by segmented bodies and grasping appendages near their mouths. They played a prominent role in Cambrian marine ecosystems. Cambrian arthropods, not only trilobites and anomalocaridids, but also other forms like crustaceans and early arachnomorphs, spider-like arthropods, early echinoderms, ancestors of modern starfish and sea urchins, appeared during the Cambrian. They had a radial symmetry and often possessed hard skeletons made out of calcium carbonate. Early chordates, the ancestors of vertebrates, emerged during the Cambrian. These primitive vertebrate-like animals had a notochord or a flexible rod and gill slits. Sponges, simple filter-feeding animals with porous bodies, were present during the Cambrian and continued to be an important part of marine ecosystems. The early Cambrian is characterized by the appearance of small shelly fossils thought to be the remains of early mollusks, brachiopods, and other small shelled organisms. The end of the Cambrian period. The late Cambrian or Ferongian saw multiple glaciation events which occurred at high latitudes. These ice ages resulted in the expansion of glaciers and a drop in sea levels. Sea levels fluctuated during the late Cambrian, partly due by glaciation, but also influenced by tectonic processes. As glaciers formed and melted, sea levels rose and fell, affecting marine ecosystems. One of the most notable events at the end of the Cambrian period was the decline and eventual extinction of many trilobite species. This marked a significant turnover in marine biodiversity. Many marine organisms, including brachiopods, mollusks, and some arthropods, began to secrete hard shells or skeletons made of calcium carbonate. This development contributed to the formation of more advanced ecosystems and the preservation of fossils. During the late Cambrian, the first vertebrate-like animals appeared. These were jawless fish-like creatures known as Haecothithis. They represented a significant step in the evolution of vertebrates. The late Cambrian witnessed further continental drift and the rearrangement of land masses. These tectonic movements affected ocean currents, climate patterns, and the distribution of marine life. Orogenic events such as the Tectonic orogeny and the Avallonian orogeny continued to shape Earth's surface. These mountain building processes created topographical diversity and influenced ecosystems. The decline of trilobites and the proliferation of biomineralizing organisms altered the composition of marine ecosystems and ocean chemistry. This shift had consequences for the distribution of marine life and the types of organisms that thrived. The end of the Cambrian period marked the beginning of the Ordovician period, which continued the trend of increasing biodiversity and the evolution of marine life. The Ordovician saw the continued radiation of early jawless fish, as well as the diversification of brachiopods, mollusks, and other marine organisms. Well, guys, that's the Cambrian period. I hope you found it interesting. It's great to be talking about actual life and not just single-celled organisms. If you have any questions or you want to correct the way I've pronounced some of the things, don't hesitate to do so in the comments below, whether it be YouTube or Spotify. Those of you watching on YouTube, you'll probably see a better frame rate in my Minecraft because I've got a new computer, which is a beast, as the salesman told me. So hopefully that will mean better viewing for you guys. If you're on YouTube, don't hesitate to drop a like and also subscribe. And of course, if you're on Spotify, leave a comment. And also, if you'd like to follow, don't hesitate to do so. Thank you to my 3 followers that I have. One of them, I think, is my husband, and the other being a very, very close friend. So I do thank you guys for your support. And any of you listening later on down the track, thank you so much for listening and thank you so much for following. I'm Noom-72. Have a great morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. See you later. Take care and bye for now.